Outrageous Chapter 43. Lu Jiwei was someone who was just so easily satisfied. It didn't matter if she only had a few fans, she would be happy even if she only had one fan. Even if it was just one fan, they were watching her. Even if it was just one fan, they liked her. One is better than none. And this Qiao Qiao fan even watched all her shows from when she was a transparent entity and praised her. That means that as long as she wasn't transparent, all her hard work to achieve her dreams wouldn't be in vain. It wasn't that she was incapable, it was the transparent entity that was stopping her from shining brightly. Sang Wansi looked at her quietly. Her eyes were red, but her smile was even more beautiful than an autumn day. She was obviously so worthy of being noticed, worthy of being liked, but she had no chance to shine because of her low sense of existence previously. Now that she finally had a fan, she was so happy. It was optimistic. But the more optimistic she was, the more people felt for her. Sang Wansi's eyes softened as she looked at her warmly, not saying a word. She reached out and pulled Lu Jiwei into her arms, stroking her hair, comforting her silently. Lu Jiwei was confused. Why did Sang Wansi seem to be a bit hurt over something she felt was worth celebrating? Could it be that the child had grown up and gotten into her emotional stage? So she patted Sang Wansi's back and asked, "What's wrong?" Sang Wansi's breath gently brushed past her ear, and her voice was as gentle as the breeze in summer. "You forgot about me. I like you too, I'm your fan too." Lu Jiwei chuckled and asked, "When did our teacher Sang become my fan?" Sang Wansi said seriously, "When I followed you." Sang Wansi's name was in the list of Lu Jiwei's Weibo fans. A fan on Weibo was still considered a fan. Lu Jiwei felt like this was a bit like a child being unreasonable. But it was cute when Sang Wansi was the one doing it, and she couldn't refute it. Forget it, Sang Wansi is still a child to her after all. Her eyes curved as she played along. Wow, being able to make teacher Sang be my fan, I'd really be willing to do anything. Really? Sang Wansi asked. Really? Lu Jiwei answered. And Sang Wansi really requested for something. To let Lu Jiwei know this wasn't a joke. She leaned closer to Lu Jiwei's ear and requested slowly. "I hope that you won't wipe your tears away in front of me next time, cry if you want. You can cry in my arms, on my shoulder, or over the phone with me. Anything's fine, don't hold it in. Don't force yourself to always be happy. You must remember, you have someone to lean on too." At this point, Sang Wansi stroked Lu Jiwei's hair and softly asked, "Can you promise me that?" Lu Jiwei was frozen after hearing that, not knowing what to say. Aside from filming, she wasn't used to crying in front of others. With her transparent body, her tears were useless in front of others. Nobody loved her, nobody supported her, and nobody would feel for her because of a few tears, remembering her and treating her well. Because of that stupid low sense of existence, she didn't even have the right to be pitied. So she had to love herself and make sure she was always happy. Only then would she not be so upset, only then could she continue living. But today, someone hugged her and told her, "You have someone to support you, you have the right to cry." This was something she had never dared to hope for before. "I thought I would always live in the darkness. One person, walking alone in the darkness with an unknown past, a dark future and nobody to rely on. Until I saw the light. Until I met warmth. Until I met you. Thank you." She repeated those words in her heart, full of meaning. Her nose prickled with unshed tears. Her arms wrapped around Sang Wansi's waist tightly, as if she wanted to hold on to this warmth. Sang Wansi patted her back, wanting to hear her answer, wanting to hear a promise. Okay. Lu Jiwei sniffed and laughed. Okay. Her voice was tender. Whatever our teacher Sang says. Sang Wansi patted her head in encouragement. Satisfied? Good. Lu Jiwei laughed again. It felt like their statuses were switched. Sang Wansi, who was 4 years younger than her, suddenly became the older sister who was worried about her. Sang Wansi went off to continue filming after comforting her. Lu Jiwei stood by the wall, waving towards her as she watched her walk away to the set. Looking at her back, Lu Jiwei felt like she better understood why Sang Wansi was the female lead. Such a good person deserved to be liked by the whole world. It's just that the male lead wasn't too capable. Chu Luo wasn't good enough for Sang Wansi, not even a little bit. Ah, that's right. She suddenly remembered she had to talk to Chu Luo. She wanted to see if she could counsel him to save him like she did with Ying Xiz. As she was thinking about it, Chu Luo appeared. As he walked past her, his eyes were filled with enmity, as if he saw a rival whom he absolutely could not stand. Lu Jiwei, who felt targeted. Was this the feeling of love rivals meeting each other and not being able to get along? It was very uncomfortable. Then all the more she had to save this love rival. If she could do it, the world would be at peace and there wouldn't be any more of this nonsensical enmity. Although she didn't know if it would work. Mr. Chu. She called out to Chu Luo politely. Among the whole cast, she had the most average relationship with Chu Luo. On the surface, they were fine with each other. Privately, it was incredibly awkward, all caused by Chu Luo's actions. Chu Luo stopped and turned around, looking proudly down at her. Is there a problem? Lu Jiwei's fist tightened. She had to admit, she really couldn't stand Chu Luo's attitude. But her mood lightened when she thought about the fact that it could be the script causing him to be like this. Forget it, he might not originally be like this. Be more forgiving. She tried to smile in a conciliatory manner. There's something I'd like to discuss with Mr. Chu. Would Mr. Chu have some time to listen to me? Chu Luo seemed to have guessed her intentions and raised his chin slightly. Who is this about? Lu Jiwei, Mr. Chu already has the answer in his heart. Chu Luo's brows knit together as he asked in an unfriendly tone, are you planning to show off in front of me? Lu Jiwei said unhurriedly, of course not. She wasn't in a relationship with Sang Wansi. What was there to show off? She was just an ordinary male lead who wanted to save the world and the supporting roles. Chu Luo looked at her and thought that she couldn't do anything either. He asked his assistant to go ahead first. It wasn't time for his scene to be shot yet, he had some time to chat. When only the two of them were left, Chu Luo folded his arms as he looked coldly at her. Lu Jiwei, you can speak now. Lu Jiwei knew she couldn't beat around the bush with someone like him, so she started off strong. I know you like Wansi. Wansi. What an intimate way of calling her. Almost as if their intimate relationship could be seen. Chu Luo's eyebrow twitched uncomfortably. Sang Wansi had only just told him yesterday that she liked Lu Jiwei. Today, Lu Jiwei was in front of him calling Wansi. Wasn't this showing off? Lu Jiwei ignored his twitching eyebrow as she said calmly, but Wansi has already clearly rejected you, more than once. And so? He said blandly. Lu Jiwei's gaze grew more serious, so I hope you can give up and stop pestering her, she doesn't like you. Chu Luo looked up slowly, his eyes cold. Lu Jiwei looked calm and unfrightened. Mr. Chu, you have plenty of choices with such good conditions. There's no need to be obsessed with someone who doesn't like you, or it's also a type of harm to both of you. There's a good saying, there are fragrant flowers in every corner of the earth, why do you have to insist on a single flower? After that, she thought of Sang Wanxi's words and recited them to Qiu Luo, hoping he would wake up and forget about his foolish obsession. Every portion of like is a precious gift. Don't fall for someone who will never fall for you, and waste your emotions. Qiu Luo looked at her consideringly. He suddenly felt doubtful. Why would a love rival suddenly talk to him about this? Their relationship wasn't good, they only gave each other a glance when bumping into each other. How could it have gotten to the point that Lu Jiwei would try to persuade him for his own good? He thought about it carefully, then came to a realization. There was only one answer. After coming to his conclusion, Qiu Luo's eyes filled with amusement. His lips curled up in that familiar evil smile. Lu Jiwei? She asked in her heart, what is he doing smiling evilly again? Lao Wu, I don't know the answer to this question either. So did he hear what I said or not? Lu Jiwei felt that Qiu Luo was really hard to understand. After Ying Xiz had been counseled, at least he said he would go back and think about it. But this man actually smirked first, not forgetting his oily nature. Lu Jiwei, my fist's hard again. JPG. Lao Wu paused for a moment, why don't you ask? With Qiu Luo's nature, he felt the man would certainly tell the truth. Lu Jiwei had no choice but to ask. And when she was about to speak, Qiu Luo spoke first, I understand now. Lu Jiwei's eyes lit up as she smiled. He understood he was going to let go of Sang Wanxi and not pester her, so he really was affected by the script to become like this. Lu Jiwei was afraid she had thought too much, so she asked in anticipation, what do you understand? Qiu Luo smiled again, with a hint of I knew this would happen. Lu Jiwei's smile froze on her face. Something feels wrong. Qiu Luo, I understand your feelings. Lu Jiwei started growing suspicious, then. Let me hear it. Qiu Luo's reaction wasn't normal. It was even more disturbing than when he treated her as an enemy. It was goosebump-inducing. Qiu Luo brushed away a lock of his non-existent fringe, and pointed at her, you've already fallen for me. Lu Jiwei. What on earth was he saying? God damn it, she knew she couldn't trust this idiot. I'm not, you've misunderstood. Qiu Luo waggled a finger as he interrupted her with a smile and pity in his eyes, I don't blame you, nobody can refuse my looks after all. It's completely understandable that a homosexual can be turned straight by my perfect, flawless face. Lu Jiwei was speechless. Although the original script had said Qiu Luo had some narcissistic tendencies, she didn't realize he was actually so narcissistic. Qiu Luo was still submerged in his own attractiveness, speechless because I figured your feelings out. I get it. But I'm very sorry, I don't like you. I only like Wanxi. Even if she likes you now, it's fine. As long as I stay by her side, she will naturally fall in love with me. Lu Jiwei. Good God. Qiu Luo, apologies, after all, I'm such a charismatic person. Lu Jiwei was tired. Ying Xiz was Ying Xiz, Qiu Luo was Qiu Luo. They, indeed, couldn't be considered the same. The former could be saved, the latter was truly narcissistic. It was as if he had a filter in his ears to only let him hear what he wanted to hear. He was incurable. She gave up, she would be an idiot if she wasted even a bit more effort on Qiu Luo. It was also a true feat to be narcissistic to this degree. She cupped her fist in her hand to Qiu Luo, I'm impressed. Take it that I didn't say anything to you today. Farewell, goodbye. After that, she walked away quickly. Lu Jiwei didn't want to spend one more second by Qiu Luo. She was afraid she would be driven to an early death by Qiu Luo's narcissism. Qiu Luo scoffed at the sight of her fleeing. Fleeing pathetically after not being able to get who she likes. Then, he saw Lu Jiwei rushing back as she emphasized, I still have to clarify, I don't like you. And please stop disturbing Wan Si, I won't stand by idly and watch. She could no longer avoid facing off with Qiu Luo. After saying her piece, she walked away again. Qiu Luo. Woman. 7:30 p.m. Sang Wan Si went to practice her scenes with Lu Jiwei. After they finished, the two of them started chatting. As they talked, they eventually spoke about what happened. Sang Wan Si frowned, as if doubting her ears. He really said that. Qiu Luo actually thought Lu Jiwei liked him. He thought that as long as he stayed by her side, she would fall for him. He had so much confidence in himself. Lu Jiwei nodded. Sang Wan Si. Dumb man. This sort of dumb man was most suitable for her father to take care of. But she was quarreling with her dad now, so she could only handle it herself. Sang Wan Si fell into deep thought, her fingertip brushing against her eyebrows. After a moment, she said, overconfidence needs to be taken down a notch. She looked at Lu Jiwei and asked, would you be willing to cooperate with me? How? Lu Jiwei asked enthusiastically. Sorry, Qiu Luo's base nature was like this, it wasn't something she could save. Since they couldn't be friends, then the only solution was to maintain their love rival status. And she truly couldn't stand Qiu Luo's smirk, it was too oily. Sang Wan Si said, we just need to let him know that we only like each other. Lu Jiwei, how? Sang Wan Si looked at the window by the side. The curtain was closed tightly with no gaps. She got up and walked towards Lu Jiwei. Bending down, she placed both her hands on the arms of the chair. Like this. As the words landed, a gentle, soundless kiss was pressed to Lu Jiwei's forehead. It was quick and gentle. Lu Jiwei was frozen in her chair. She forgot how to speak, looking at Sang Wan Si without blinking. Sang Wan Si didn't move away immediately, but maintained the same posture, looking down at her. Is that okay, Jija? Lu Jiwei's face flushed red. Outrageous. Chapter 44. Lu Jiwei was in a daze for a while. She sat there, like a block of wood. The kiss that landed between her brows seemed to have some residual heat, reminding her constantly of what happened. A kiss. A question. A jija. Soft and light, like a brush of wind against the shell of her ear. It wasn't bewitching, but it was enough to make her mind go out of control. Lu Jiwei only slowly came back to her senses when she heard Lao Wu's voice. I have to say, Sang Wan Si is a female lead who really knows how to flirt. This method was straight out of a book. But Sang Wan Si didn't look like she knew she was flirting. Lu Jiwei lowered her head and looked at the table leg, replying distractedly, mm. It was clearly an innocent forehead kiss, it was clearly just an act to deal with Qiu Luo, it was clearly just for show, but it could still make her flustered. She controlled her breathing. A person who flirted without knowing it was too dangerous. Especially for someone like her who had always been alone and had no experience. What's wrong? Sang Wan Si's voice came from above her. Cool fingertips plastered themselves against her cheek, lifting her head. Their eyes met again, as Sang Wan Si's fingers gently stroked her skin. Your face is so red. Lu Jiwei immediately looked away. Cough. She grabbed Sang Wanxi's hand and stopped her from touching herself. Even her speaking cadence was disrupted. No, nothing. You go sit down. Sang Wanxi finally realized something, amusement creeping into her voice. Are you embarrassed? She realized, Lu Jiwei's skin was a little thin. Since she had been found out, Lu Jiwei didn't bother pretending and gave up struggling, smiling helplessly. Teacher Sang is so good looking, who wouldn't feel shy sitting here? She looked at Sang Wanxi's eyes. After all, our teacher Sang's face is famous for attracting both men and women. This wasn't said by just Lu Jiwei. Zhang Xianrui had said it before too. Her fans had said it too. It's average. Sang Wanxi commented on her looks. Her tone was calm, without any emotion. As if she was saying the sky was blue. Lu Jiwei. I don't even know if she's subtly showing off one. Sang Wanxi got up and went back to her seat. After sitting down, she brought the conversation back on topic. So, do you think it's doable? Acting like a couple in front of Chu Luo, acting like they were very close. The closer they were, the bigger the blow to the arrogant Chu Luo. This was the only way to let him clearly see that not every woman revolved around him. Considering Lu Jiwei's reaction and shyness, Sang Wanxi said, if you think it's a bit too much, we can think of another solution. There were always more solutions than problems. They had no need to pick one that would make either of them uncomfortable. Lu Jiwei didn't feel like she had been violated, but she couldn't control her heart rate. She was always so helpless towards Sang Wanxi. After so long, she didn't know if she was easily flirted with, or if Sang Wanxi had that much charisma. As she was deliberating, the outrageous system popped out again. Mission issued, reply female lead Sang Wanxi, as long as it's you, I can do anything. Time limit, 5 minutes. Lu Jiwei. This sounds too ambiguous. Isn't it basically equivalent to a confession? Those who didn't know better would wonder what kind of relationship they had. This outrageous system, truly didn't let her down. She slowly looked at Sang Wanxi. Sang Wanxi was watching her, waiting for an answer. The light in her eyes was like a ball of fire suddenly descending on the tip of her heart, scorching hot to the point that her ears started turning red too. Let's go with it. She covered her face with a hand and bit her lip, taking a deep breath. As long as it's you, I can do anything. It was already incredibly embarrassing to hear the system say it, it was even worse saying it herself. Lu Jiwei covered her face even tighter. Sorry, she was too embarrassed to face Sang Wanxi. Sang Wanxi paused, then laughed. Why are you embarrassed again? Lu Jiwei held her face as she shuffled her foot against the carpet. Because it's embarrassing to say it out. System judgment, replied to female lead Sang Wanxi successfully. Mission point +1. Please work hard, host. Lu Jiwei sighed heavily in her heart. Being the male lead wasn't easy, saving the world wasn't easy. Hopefully the next time she drew a prize, it would be something good and not something strange and ridiculous. Is this really right? Sang Wanxi pushed away the script on the table and poured a cup of water for her, smiling, but you said today that as long as I'm your fan, you can do anything. You didn't seem embarrassed then. Lu Jiwei. She started blindly looking for a reason. Because I wasn't looking into your eyes then. Sang Wanxi, you're not looking at them now either. Lu Jiwei didn't know what to say. After that, the room fell silent. After a moment. You're very cute. Sang Wanxi said. Lu Jiwei was startled, spreading open her fingers to peek out. What did you say? Sang Wanci leaned forward, elbows on the table as she supported her face with her hand and said calmly. Sis, you're very cute. It was cute when she was embarrassed. It was cute when she gave up struggling. It was cute when she ate apples while filming. And it was cute when she looked up at her with a red face just now. It was as if everything she did was cute. Lu Jiwei's fingers were like a door, quickly closing the gap again. After a moment, her voice came out. Who exactly did you learn to call me Jija from? Sang Wanci was honest. Ying Xiz. Lu Jiwei. Don't lie to me, he clearly didn't call me that. Every time Ying Xiz called her sis, he was like a puppy, excited and happy. It wasn't the same for Sang Wanci. She was like a siren luring a sailor in. Sang Wanci smiled calmly as she took the script. Let us continue rehearsing. When she called her Jija, Lu Jiwei would agree to anything. She didn't plan on telling this to Lu Jiwei yet. As for being willing to do anything, she noted down this true love fan's dedication. As for how to aggravate Chu Luo, Lu Jiwei thought that Sang Wanci was absolutely an expert. Because on the second day of their secret plan, Chu Luo suffered a heavy blow. It was right as the crew was packing up after work. Sang Wanci invited Lu Jiwei to dinner, then planned to rehearse after that to prepare for the next scene. While walking down a long corridor, they bumped into Chu Luo. The three of them immediately split into two camps. The atmosphere was immediately tense. Chu Luo spoke first to break the silence. He smiled at Sang Wanci. Teacher Sang is going to eat. Sang Wanci nodded, expressionless. Chu Luo used that attractive face and said, "Ah, I wonder if our beautiful teacher Sang would give me the pleasure of having a meal together. Miss Lu can join as well. Seeing that you like me, I'll give you this one chance to have dinner together." Chu Luo thought arrogantly. Lu Jiwei chuckled, "No need, I don't want to." Sang Wanci concurred, I don't want to either." According to Chu Luo's nature, he would definitely express his narcissism, so Sang Wanci took the initiative to stop him. Her 5 fingers gently slipped past Lu Jiwei's as they held hands right in front of him. "Chu Luo. What am I seeing?" As if feeling it wasn't enough, Sang Wanci raised their hands. Lu Jiwei watched as Sang Wanci slowly pressed her lips to the back of her hand. The lowered eyelids and curled eyelashes were gentle and attractive. Sang Wanci slowly opened her eyes, showing off the light sparkling like stars. Lu Jiwei was the only one reflected in her eyes. "Don't disturb us." Although it was an act, it was incredibly charming. Lu Jiwei paused slightly. "Chu Luo." He was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe his eyes. Sang Wanci didn't even spare him a glance, directly pulling Lu Jiwei away. Lu Jiwei snuck a glance at Chu Luo's expression. His blood pressure is rising expression showcased exactly how he was feeling. When he disappeared from view, she finally chuckled. "Impressive, Teacher Sang." Wanting to upset Chu Luo, it was indeed best for the female lead to do it. Sang Wanci smiled at her. Ever since then, Chu Luo suffered plenty of aggravation from them. There was at least a silver lining to it. He finally believed that Lu Jiwei didn't like him. The filming for Questioning Deity Sect went very smoothly. When Lu Jiwei didn't have a scene, she would go to the set and watch Guo Hui directing. While observing, she could learn a lot about acting. If Fang Sheng, the actor for the sect leader, was on the set, he would also explain how to act to her, being almost like a father and teacher to her. So after filming for a while, her acting skills also improved greatly. Fang Sheng praised her skills, saying that with her hard work and diligent attitude, she would definitely make it big in the industry. He even gravely instructed her to maintain an unhurried attitude and understand what she wants and cannot want, to learn contentment and adjust her attitude so she can have a long career. Lu Jiwei took all his words to heart. She very rarely had an elder say all these to her and express their hopes for her. The elders in her family. It would be good if they could even remember her. Fang Sheng patted her head and went off to shoot. She sat there, propping her face up as she went into a daze. After so long, she actually no longer held out hope that her parents would take the initiative to call her and ask if she was doing okay. Although she didn't know why her parents didn't care about her, it was all right. At least she still had a younger sister. Actually, Lu Shijiao was also her light. When she was young, this younger sister would barge into her room at times and call her Jija and play with her. Although there were times when Lu Shijiao ran out of the room and quickly forgot her older sister was waiting for her, Lu Jiwei was already satisfied then. To her, even the shortest bit of companionship was companionship. And now, Lu Shijiao remembered her, and would occasionally send texts and chat with her. With a family member still remembering her, that was enough. Speaking of which, she was suddenly curious about what Lu Shijiao was doing right now. She sent a message to Lu Shijiao, "Shijiao, what are you doing?" Lu Shijiao replied immediately, "Studying." Lu Jiwei decided not to reply. No matter what, she couldn't disturb her sister while she was studying. Lu Jiwei, "Oh okay, then G1T disturb you, study hard." Lu Shijiao was indeed studying. Studying how to create a Baidu entry. Other celebrities all had one, only Lu Jiwei didn't. She wouldn't allow it. If other actors had it, her sister had to have one too, she definitely couldn't be outshone. As for how the entry should go, she already had an essay prepared. It detailed which episodes and the exact timestamps that Lu Jiwei appeared in each show. Such a long list would definitely be impressive at first glance, but it wouldn't stand up to closer scrutiny. But that's fine. Once her sister got more popular and had more shows, then there would be more material to fill the Baidu entry with. Her sister would definitely become popular. God won't abandon people who work hard, Lu Shijiao believed. Aside from that, she also studied how to cut fan cams and Photoshop images, amongst other essential skills. After all this hard work, now Qiao Qiaoya's profile was filled with videos and photos of Lu Jiwei. As a mature steadfast fan, she must create her own Amway content. Now, she was only waiting for the official news from Phoenix. Regardless of whether it was the trailer or a teaser, she could cut something as long as there was content. She was going to make this account an Amway account to let people see all this promotional content once they clicked in, and seduce them into the pit. For the older sister's future, the younger sister will work hard. Her 3 roommates watched her sit behind her computer excitedly. They felt as if she would catch on fire if she was just a bit more passionate. The days passed by and the temperature went from cold to hot. Summer was here. Lu Jiwei was closer and closer to the scene where the little junior sister would undergo her transformation. Once this pivotal scene happened, there would no longer be the innocent, naive little junior sister. Only the murderous, ruthless demon general. At the same time, Sangwon Si and Ying Xiz's ancient drama Phoenix finally released the long-awaited teaser. Lu Shijiao immediately rushed to the official Weibo to open it. And then she saw Lu Jiwei lying in a pool of blood. Lu Shijiao. Wait. This can't be my sister's outcome. Outrageous Chapter 45. The teaser trailer was a short clip released before the official trailer. Through the teaser, the audience could get a general understanding of the drama's style and content. Phoenix's teaser was a continuation of director Lee's long-standing style. The show had plenty of nuance and quality, just like a movie. A simple trailer was connected by the lines getting to know each other during their youth, eventually betraying each other, and the Phoenix never lives under others. A brave and intelligent military advisor, a brave general good at fighting wars, a loyal court minister in tears, and the maid who had been following the female lead all along, lying in a pool of blood. The storyline reached climax after climax, magnificent and thrilling. Looking at the comments section, the audience couldn't wait any longer. Is this a double portion of black air? Sang Sang is so handsome standing in the hall and flicking her sleeve. Wife, please flick it onto my face. At 9 Lives, I not only want the trailer, I want the actual show. Hurry up. Give me the date. At Xianjing, hurry up. At Ying Xize, baby, soar without any worries, mommy will always accompany and support you. Heart. Lucy Jiao sat cross-legged on her bed, watching the teaser. She had to admit this teaser was very well made and attention-grabbing. But she didn't understand one thing. In the poster for her sister, why were there two huge, eye-catching words blood debt? Did the character Liu Jiwei act as though the main character's a blood debt, or was this character one of the main character's blood debt? But regardless of which it was, Lucy Jiao didn't want to watch. Because didn't that mean that her sister's character would die? Regardless of whether she was thinking of it as a younger sister or a fan, she definitely selfishly wanted Liu Jiwei's character to always have a beautiful happy ending. If she was told from the start that Liu Jiwei's character would die, it would definitely be painful. She wanted to know the answer. Desperately wanted to. So she opened WeChat. Liu Jiwei's profile was lying quietly in her list of chats. There wasn't a red dot at all. The teaser was already out, there was no way Liu Jiwei didn't know about it. But she still didn't take the initiative to tell Lucy Jiao that she was an actress. Maybe she was busy. Maybe she felt she didn't have enough achievements yet to proudly announce it to others. Lucy Jiao couldn't figure out Liu Jiwei's thinking. After a moment of silence, she closed WeChat and went on Weibo. Since her sister wouldn't say it, she would give her sister some face. Until she took the initiative to say it, Lucy Jiao would just be a fan. She opened the private message function on Weibo. Sending a screenshot of the teaser, she carefully asked, "This character, did she die?" Liu Jiwei only had this one live fan, so she would frequently reply her messages. Eventually, Lucy Jiao had gotten into the habit of either using WeChat or Weibo to look for Liu Jiwei. Actually, assuming another identity as Liu Jiwei's fan was quite fun. Questioning deity sect's set. Liu Jiwei checked Weibo while she was getting ready. Seeing Xiao Xiaoya's message, she smiled. Liu Jiwei, you'll know when the actual show starts. Liu Jiwei, I can't tell you the plot. Xiao Xiaoya didn't reply immediately. Liu Jiwei clicked into her profile. It showed the newest post was a repost of Phoenix's teaser. Amidst all the fans of the other actors and their rainbow farts, she was the only fan who had come for Liu Jiwei, who was looking forward to the show because of Liu Jiwei. At Xiao Xiaoya, eagerly anticipating our hidden treasure Liu Jiwei, inviting everybody to come see my baby. Her acting skills have improved with each show, you won't lose out by being her fan. Support repost. As if Liu Jiwei could see her through the screen, screaming and waving a flag for her, working hard to Amway. Liu Jiwei couldn't help but chuckle, scrolling down. Jiao Qiaoya's Weibo account was small and had no fans. Every post was an Amway for Liu Jiwei. Her own drawings, her own photoshopped images, her own fan cams. Even if nobody replied, Qiao was diligently posting. Looking at it, Liu Jiwei suddenly felt very upset, as if she was disappointing this child. Qiao was so impressive, why did she choose to like someone unpopular like Liu Jiwei? How lonely was it to not even have someone reply to your posts? If Qiao liked Sang Wansi, she would have long become one of the top fans in the circle. She felt sorry for a bit, then pulled herself together. Don't think like that, Liu Jiwei. Someone's treating you well because you deserve it. Pull yourself together and work hard so as to not disappoint her. She patted her face, gathering her thoughts. Then she liked Qiaoya's posts, reposted them and commented, returning this precious gift. Then she kept her phone and got up. She had to work hard to live up to her fans. Looking through the script, she figured out the next scene. To escape from the sect leader, Qiaojing had fled from the sect first. To prevent her from spoiling his plan, the sect leader had announced to his disciples that Qiaojing was a traitor, someone that the demonic sect had planted in his sect. Everything she did before was just to trick them. He ordered his disciples to immediately kill Qiaojing on sight and not be tricked by her. As one of the main characters in the fate-exchanging spell, the sect leader definitely wouldn't let her meet with Qiaojing. So he found a reason and a secure location for her to cultivate behind locked doors. Not daring to defy her father, the little junior sister obeyed. But in the end, when she was in closed-door seclusion, she could some books people had left behind. Some of them were the same ones the sect leader had given her, but the content was different. Her books had all the wrong mantras. At that time, she wasn't willing to think badly of her father, suspecting he might have taken the wrong ones. But why would he have the wrong mantras? Could it be someone had placed it there? Chanting the mantras wrongly wouldn't help cultivate, and some would even cause harm to the person. Thinking about it, she was worried her father would be harmed. Adding on to the fact that the area she was in was lonely and cold, she couldn't stand it, leaving early to go back to the sect. At this point, it had already been 2 months since Qiaojing fled the sect. In these 2 months, the world had fallen into chaos with demons roaming freely and the common people facing trouble. At this time, the sect leader had brought his real daughter back to the sect, although he hadn't announced her identity yet. And the little junior sister was unaware of all of this. When she returned to the sect, she bumped into the son of the Demon King carrying a coffin and demanding a hostage. This was the transformation point of the little junior sister's story. The filming would start from here as well. This scene was extremely important and required that her emotions were correct and convincing. Because the little junior sister falling to the dark side was one of the main plot points of the show. Guo Hui and the scriptwriter would not allow for a soft blow, they wanted the audience to weep while watching the scene. Standing on the set, Liu Jiwei's heart thumped. She was a bit nervous, worried that she wouldn't be able to portray the character well. This whole scene was dependent on the little junior sister's emotions and acting. Sang Wansi didn't have a scene to shoot, and knowing that this scene wasn't easy, she specially came over to accompany Liu Jiwei. Liu Jiwei's face inflated and deflated, as if she was taking deep breaths constantly. Seeing it, Sang Wansi walked over and grabbed her hand. Her palm was all sweaty. "Don't be nervous." She took out a tissue and wiped Liu Jiwei's hands. "You can do it." Liu Jiwei inhaled and exhaled again, then smiled at her, I can do it." Guo Hui called her over and spoke about the scene for a bit, then squeezed her shoulder. The shooting began. The little junior sister hugged the books with the wrong mantras and ran to look for the sect leader, only to find the sect leader with his real daughter. Seeing her father treating this girl gently and tenderly, she suddenly felt a sense of danger. It felt like she was no longer her father's favorite child. She hugged the books and walked into the room, tripping over the doorsill and sprawling out onto the floor. Hearing the girl laugh, she suddenly felt embarrassed. Her fate really had the word unlucky engraved on it, or else how could she always be encountering such situations, and this time, her sect leader father didn't walk over to help her up. She suddenly felt something was changing. But she could only pick herself up along with the books and dust off her skirt. She forced herself to smile. "Dad, who is this?" "Dad," the girl repeated and looked at the sect leader in confusion. The sect leader patted her shoulder and said softly, "This is Dadi's adopted daughter, the same age as you." The moment adopted daughter was mentioned, the girl knew what was going on. She smiled and walked up to hold the little junior sister's hand. "Hello, I'm Dadi's daughter too." Biological. As if she was reminding her of her status. Biological. The little junior sister's heart felt like it had been stabbed with a sword, twisting painfully. Oh! An adopted child would never be better than a biological one. It seemed like her father thought so too. Otherwise why wouldn't he have helped her up just now? Was it because he thought she was embarrassing by being so unlucky? What's wrong? Why did you suddenly come back? The sect leader asked. The fate exchange was done, his biological daughter was by his side again. He had no shred of compassion left for this adopted daughter. He was this kind of person, he wouldn't have any excess feelings for people who were useless. Oh! The little junior sister came back to her senses and showed him the books. "Dad, I found that the mantras in these books are all wrong. I suspect someone wants to harm you, you have to be careful." She thought she would see the sect leader's surprised expression. But she didn't. The sect leader didn't even raise an eyebrow as he took the books and flipped through them and said flippantly, "They're wrong." As if he had known all along. The little junior sister's lips slowly twisted downwards. Liu Jiwei portrayed the character's emotions perfectly at this moment. Suspicious, yet unwilling to suspect at the same time. No matter what, that was the person who had brought her from being a beggar to the sect leader's daughter. At this moment, a disciple ran in to report, "It's not good, sect leader. The demon prince brought a coffin and slaughtered his way here alongside the demon generals. Qin He elder has been captured by them too." The three of them looked at him. The atmosphere tensed. Guo Hui was pleased with this take, shouting cut. The next scene had to switch sets, and the setup was done. The little junior sister was rushing to the location when she asked a younger disciple to fill her in. Everybody knew what had happened while she was in closed seclusion, but she didn't. After she heard, she had understood pretty much all of it. During this period, the demons and evil sects had risen up. The son of the demon king, the demon prince, was the most arrogant and fearsome. Thanks to his 5 demon generals, nobody knew what sort of witchcraft he used. Those 5 generals had been very well trained. The scariest was, the demon generals were made of flesh and blood, but they couldn't feel exhaustion, almost like a dead puppet. Unless the demon prince gave the order, they would not stop once they started killing. As for the 5 elders in the sect, 2 of them had taken disciples to exterminate the demons and evil sects far from the mountain, so they couldn't rush back. As for the other 3, one was kidnapped, the other was caught in an ambush by the demon prince and was recovering in the hospital. There was just one last Qing Xin elder left to fight. Qing Xin elder didn't he have the same strength as the demon prince, and there was no way he could stand up to him. Even with the sect leader, they didn't he have the advantage of numbers. It was clear who would win. The demon prince came suddenly, and purposefully. He intentionally came when two of the elders were missing, and made sure to defeat the rest one by one so they couldn't work together to defeat him. If all the 5 elders were present, they would certainly be able to stand their ground even against the 5 generals. Now, it was looking grim even if they could ask for aid. After all, the demon prince was not an idiot. The situation was incredibly perilous for the sect. The little junior sister stood dumbly behind the sect leader. That set was where they had been at the start. She had secretly eaten apples there with 5th senior brother. Qiaojing had sat in front of her, blocking her with her body. But in the need, they were still discovered by Qing Xin elder. And now, there were a few disciples lying there, clutching at their chests with fresh blood trickling from their mouths. Further ahead was the army from the demonic realm. It was gloomy, as if black clouds were suppressing the city. Especially the coffin shrouded with a black aura behind the demon prince. It was cold and imposing, making whoever saw it feel like they couldn't breathe. The sect leader calmly asked what the demon prince wanted. The handsome male actor smiled, his arms crossed as he leaned on the coffin. "I want your daughter." Everybody present was shocked. The little junior sister and the other girl took a step back, behind the sect leader. The demon prince said, "If you give her to me, I'll leave. If not, I'll exterminate your section." The sect leader's daughter was not just anybody. Handing her out would be a show of deference to the demon sect, making the sect leader lose face in the cultivation world. But if they didn't hand her over, the sect would be exterminated. But he had just reunited with his child, how could he bear to give her away? The little junior sister was scared. Even though the elders had said she was gifted in cultivation and had limitless potential, but her cultivation had been slow. She had no way of fighting the demon sect, and if she went over, she would be killed. She hugged the sect leader's arm, looking for his protection like she always did in the past. "Dad." The sect leader's face showed his unhappiness. "Arrogant thief, what do you want my daughter for?" How many daughters could he have? The demon prince could be looking for his adopted daughter. The demon prince didn't care how he was scolded, considerately explaining, "Because your daughter's good. So much yin and so much pureness, it's such a good object." This made everybody present extremely uncomfortable. In his eyes, a living, breathing human was no more than an object. The demon prince said, "Old man, don't waste your energy trying to fight me. You can't beat my demon generals, he can't either." He whipped out a long sword until it reached Qin He elder's neck. "Are you handing her over, or not?" The atmosphere got even tenser. There was simply no choice. Silence reigned. If a needle dropped now, it would be clearly audible. After a moment, the sect leader's words were clearly heard by all. "Okay, I'll hand her over." The little junior sister and girl looked at the sect leader. Qing Xin elder shouted fiercely, "Sect leader!" Even the 5th senior brother crawled up from the ground and shouted painfully, "Sect leader, you can't hand her over." The demon prince said in satisfaction, "That's more like it. Open the coffin. Prepare to welcome our newest member." At his command, the eerie coffin opened slowly. The little junior sister couldn't see what was inside. She could only see black and red masses swirling around, and a forest of white bones, as if it was hell. She looked at the sect leader in shock. Could it only be like this? There was no other way to express his sincerity. The demon prince immediately released the heavily injured Qin He elder. He didn't mind, besides, his sect could not hurt him in the slightest. The little junior sister couldn't say a word. She didn't even know if she should really stand out and sacrifice herself for the sect. But she was scared, she wanted to live too. Was there really no other way? Could Daddy really not fight them? At this moment, she heard the girl call out as she grabbed onto the sect leader's sleeve, "Sect leader." She didn't call him father, she called him sect leader. At this moment, the little junior sister understood what she was doing, staring at her with wide eyes as if she didn't understand. But what made her even more devastated was when the sect leader turned towards the girl and said, "Don't worry, I know what to do." And then he pushed the little junior sister forward while she was off guard. "Here. My daughter." The little junior sister stumbled forward a few steps, then turned to look at the sect leader. The next moment, a tendril of black smoke came out from the coffin and wrapped itself around her waist, pulling her backwards as she fell heavily onto the floor. The smell of blood rose as she vomited a mouthful of fresh blood, her fingers scrambling for purchase on the cobblestones as her eyes stayed locked on the sect leader's body. "Unbelievable!" Guo Hui suddenly shouted for the cameras to stop. She felt like Liu Jiwei's emotions still weren't enough. She walked up and sat by Liu Jiwei's side. "Your feelings should be slowly descending into despair. You have to get into your own character and treat the sect leader as your own father. Think about it. How good was your father to you, taking care of you and not letting you worry, protecting you when you got bullied? You relied on him for everything, so when he abandoned you, it's normal for you to be incredulous and still carry hope in your heart. When he ignores you and doesn't look into your eyes, that's when your despair should explode. Understand you have to show it in your eyes, it'll make it easier for your future scenes. You can put more strength into grabbing with your fingers, use your whole body to demonstrate your desire to live." Liu Jiwei listened seriously and nodded, then clambered down to the ground to get into character. She had found it really hard to get the right emotions through for this scene. Because she had never had a father who had treated her well and stood up for her. She mussed her hair with her dirty hands. Until she threw her father out of her mind and Fang Sheng appeared in her eyes. Meng Lian, you had said before, when you're acting, fiction works. She had to treat Fang Sheng as the fictional father that was good to her, and get into the little junior sister's emotions. After a while, she expressed she was ready. After 4 or 5 takes, Guo Hui finally didn't stop the cameras, letting her act on. The little junior sister didn't dare to believe the sect leader would push her out there for his own daughter. He had clearly treated her so well before. He made those clothes out of fire silkworm cloth, he kept her favorite apple in his sleeve, he even carried her on his back. She didn't believe all those were fake, he still looked at him with hope in her eyes. Her fingers scrambled on the floor as she shouted with anticipation and fear, "Dad, save me! Save me! I'm scared! Even if you just comfort me and tell me not to be scared." The sect leader didn't look away, but he didn't move either. They looked into each other's eyes, a difficult ocean to cross separating them. Liu Jiwei got into the little junior sister's character, feeling upset as her tears started to flow. The little junior sister was just a puppet who had been used. The love she had gotten was fake from start to finish. But she was a person too. How could she be thrown away after being used? What gave them the right to use her as the sect leader's daughter her whole life? Her fingers had rubbed against the floor to the point that they were all bloodied. The coffin behind her was still pulling her in. She was getting closer and closer to death. "Dad! You really don't like me anymore, then why did you bring me back in the beginning, and why did you treat me so well, little Shimei?" The 5th senior brother tried to get up. But the demon prince kicked him away. "Don't interfere." The demon prince walked slowly to the little junior sister and squatted down, pulling on a fistful of her hair to make her look up. He said in a low voice, "Have you never wondered why you've been so unlucky?" The little junior sister froze. The demon prince continued, "Have you never wondered where your father's real daughter has been all these years?" The little junior sister looked at the girl. The demon prince asked again, "Have you never wondered why you were adopted?" "Child, I'll tell you everything. Because your fate was good, it was bright and shining. So your father wanted to steal your fate to save his daughter's fate. Do you know how terrible his daughter's fate is? It was incredibly unlucky, everything was a mess, she would die a horrible death. But now, this fate is yours." He smiled as he poked the little junior sister's shoulder. "To them, you were always a dispensable tool to be used. This father and daughter are no different from me." The little junior sister clenched her fist as she heard it. "You're lying. Her father couldn't do that to her. He couldn't. I'm lying." The demon prince smiled happily. "Isn't honesty one of the most valued principles for you righteous cultivators? Ask him to swear he didn't do it, see if he dares." The little junior sister turned to look at the sect leader upon hearing that. She needed a vow. To prove she wasn't a tool to be used and thrown away, but that she was a person. Or what did she come back for? What was the point of her living so long? For her gaze was scorching with tears and anticipation. The sect leader was surprised, the demon prince actually knew the little junior sister was a fake. But when the little junior sister's eyes flickered to him, he looked away. Not saying a word. He didn't dare. Surprise filled her eyes, as the tears dripped to the floor, eventually dissolving into despair. Her 10 fingers, dripping blood and dirted with soil, had become a joke. She closed her eyes. Her heart felt dead as she stopped struggling. Actually, at this moment, Liu Jiwei thought of her parents. They didn't have her in their heart, only another daughter. As if no matter what she did, whether she was alive or dead, it had nothing to do with them. She thought it was because of her transparent physique before. Only now did she realize, perhaps they didn't care for her at all, like how the sect leader didn't care for the little junior sister. No matter how good he was to her in the past, once that mask was peeled off, it would only reveal the coldness inside. With this sadness coming from deep inside her, she finally portrayed the emotions of the little junior sister perfectly. Even Guo Hui didn't ask to stop. The little junior sister stopped struggling, slowly being pulled into the coffin. Before she was fully pulled in, she looked at the sect leader and his daughter with a cold hatred in her eyes. The coffin closed. In the next moment, screams and chilling laughter came from the coffin, lingering above their heads. There were no screams for help from the little junior sister. She would never scream for help again. The demon prince looked on in satisfaction. That was what he wanted. He wanted the little junior sister, who was so gifted in cultivation, to carry hatred and resentment in her heart to be trained as a demon general. This type of demon general would have the killing motivation to be strong and to be used by their demonic realm. The demon prince stood with his hands behind his back as he smiled at the sect leader who was comforting his daughter. "You'll meet your retribution." The sect leader would definitely meet his retribution. But before filming that scene, Guo Hui stopped the cameras, then ran to check on Liu Jiwei. Sang Wanxi followed along. Liu Jiwei had put her all into acting, and her fingers had really been scraped on the rocks, they were all covered in blood. A person who was usually so scared of pain had actually finished the scene without a bit of complaint. Sang Wanxi was a little worried. "Little Liu, Guo Hui asked in concern, how's your hand, can you keep shooting? I saw that you were in character, so I didn't ask to stop. Lu Jiwei didn't dare to use her hand at all, nodding as she was helped up by Sang Wansi, don't worry Director Guo, I can keep shooting. Although she was scared of pain, but it was for the effect, what was a bit of injury, as long as the end result was good, it was worth it. And after that, it was the scene of her after she had blackened. Shooting it now was the best, or she would still have to have fake blood on her fingers. So it would be best for them to shoot it quickly then tend to her wounds. Seeing her insistence, Guo Hui got the stylists to change her clothes and asked for some medicine to be prepared, before going back to her seat. Come, let us quickly finish this in one take. Work hard. Lu Jiwei lay in the coffin. First, a few shots of her rising up and flying out of the coffin were shot. From this moment on, the little junior sister was no longer the little junior sister, but the sixth demon general of the demon prince. She stood by the demon prince's side, her long hair untied. Her pupils were red as blood with a chilling coldness in her eyes. The fifth senior brother looked at her, little Shimei. The demon prince said, ah, don't speak nonsense, what little Shimei, this is my sixth demon general. A word of reminder, thanks to your sect leader, she is much stronger than my 5 other demon generals. Thinking about it, it definitely wouldn't be a problem to kill your sect leader. Everybody present was shocked. Nobody had thought that his generals were made this way. And nobody would have thought that he would have made a demon general out of that innocent young lady. This was simply evil, inhumane. The demon prince smiled and cupped his hands to the sect leader, thank you very much, I'm leading. As he said that, the little junior sister took 2 steps forward, but in the opposite direction of the door. In a blink, she flew forward like a ghost. Directly to the sect leader and his daughter. The little junior sister had completely learnt the demon realm's way of fighting after becoming a demon general, fighting fiercely. Qing Xin elder flew up to help the sect leader. Even with 2 against 1, the little junior sister was not at a disadvantage. Her eyes cold, every attack was filled with undeniable killing intent. Qing Xin elder's heart hurt. At the start, this was a young girl who only hid behind her shija and ate apples secretly in class. She would wail in pain after getting hit, but now. Sigh. The moment he was distracted, the little junior sister threw out a palm and hit his chest, forcing him out of the fighting zone. Protecting his daughter, the sect leader had a bit of difficulty returning the attacks. But at this moment, he didn't dare to let go of his daughter. The little junior sister wouldn't forgive him. Nor would she forgive his daughter. She had already lost all rationality and reasonable thinking. Dad! The girl shouted in fear. The sect leader hastened to protect her, don't worry, Dad is here. After hearing that, the little junior sister's killing intent became even stronger. The sect leader could no longer keep up as he started retreating. With the demon prince around, nobody else dared to go help. The little junior sister took an opportunity to hit the sect leader's arm, staggering the 2 of them back. She held out a hand in the shape of a claw towards the girl. The girl suddenly felt a force pulling her towards the little junior sister. In the blink of an eye, her neck was already in that person's grip. Crack, her life ended like that, without the time to even shout for help. To show that she had used strength, Lu Jiwei had indeed tightened her grip on the neck of the actress. There was a bit of pain as she put force on her injured fingers. She could only grit her teeth to bear with it as her face tightened. But when filmed, it looked as if she was gritting her teeth in anger at her enemy. Last, it was the sect leader's turn. His daughter's death was certainly a big deal to him. but he still couldn't fight against the little junior sister. More accurately, he couldn't fight against the hatred the little junior sister had for him. Over a decade spent using her, only to throw her away mercilessly at the end. Nobody would be able to endure that. He lost. Expectedly. As his body fell to the ground, he looked at the sky and had a moment of realization. His retribution wasn't heavenly lightning. It was dying in the hands of the little junior sister, along with his daughter. He had nothing left, but he had given everything to others. He closed his eyes unwillingly. How ridiculous, how sad. Cut very good, very good. We did it in 3 takes, that's good. Once Guo Hui said that, Lu Jiwei immediately got out of her expressionless killer character and quickly went to help Fang Sheng and the actress up. Our 2 teachers have worked hard. Sang Wansi had already brought the medicine over, pulling Lu Jiwei to her side and disinfecting the wounds before bandaging them. It hurt so much Lu Jiwei was sucking in sharp intakes of breath the whole time. Sang Wansi looked at her, then looked down and moved more gently. Bear with it, it'll be over soon. Lu Jiwei didn't dare to use her fingers, so she rubbed her face with the back of her hand. Thanks Wansi. Guo Hui walked over to check on her as well, deciding at least to let her rest for a few days and continue shooting after her fingers had healed. This was for both the welfare of the actor as well as the show. As a demon general, the little junior sister relied on her hands as her main weapon. So there would be scenes that required both her face and her hand. They couldn't have her appearing with bandages on her fingers. I'll call your agent later and see how to arrange your schedule so you can stay in the cast for a bit longer, Guo Hui said. Lu Jiwei nodded. Patting her shoulder, Guo Hui said, you did well, keep working hard. Having received a compliment, Lu Jiwei's smile was radiant. Thanks Director Guo, I will. After Guo Hui left, Fang Sheng came to check on her and pass her some medicine. Look at you. 10 fingers, all of them are injured, not one is spared. Be careful these few days, get your agent to send an assistant over to help you. If you don't have an assistant, ask a friend to come take care of you or a family member. It's too inconvenient with your hands like this. Lu Jiwei smiled in embarrassment. I know, thanks teacher. Fang Sheng nodded, good, remember to put the medicine on. Then he left. Lu Jiwei didn't know how to tell them that no matter what, she could only do it herself. When Yao was busy, she didn't want to call her over. Lucy Jiao had to attend class, she couldn't look for her either. Friends? What sort of free friends could she have? Sang Wansi stayed silent until everybody left, then she asked. You have an assistant? No. But you have a friend. Lu Jiwei raised her head to look at her, not understanding, what does that mean? It means. Sang Wansi blew air on her wounds gently, lifting her crystal clear eyes to look at her. Come stay with me, I'll look after you.